Imagine standing on a quiet shoreline, but instead of blue water stretching to the horizon, everything around you glows red. 2 moons hang in the sky, the wind is thin and cold, and before you lies a frozen ocean that hasn't moved in billions of years. For decades, scientists have looked at Mars and wondered, was this lifeless desert once alive? Did oceans once crash against Martian cliffs? Or have we been chasing an illusion, mistaking dust for water and memory for history? Every probe, every rover we've sent has brought us closer to the answer. But one mission, one that came from where no one expected, may have finally uncovered the proof. Because deep beneath the Martian surface, a Chinese rover has found something buried. Something that could rewrite everything we thought we knew about the Red Planet. To understand how we got here, and what this discovery really means, we need to go back to the one thing that connects every world capable of life: water. Every story of life, at least the kind we understand, begins with water. On Earth, it covers nearly 70% of our planet's surface. It shapes our landscapes, feeds our ecosystems, and fills the air we breathe. Without it, there's no life, not as we know it. But when you look beyond our planet, water becomes something extraordinary, almost mythical. In the vacuum of space, where most worlds are frozen or scorched, even a single drop becomes precious. That's why, for decades, astronomers have been obsessed with a simple question: where else could water exist? Mars quickly became the most promising suspect. The planet's surface is carved with ancient river valleys, dried deltas, and the faint outlines of what look like shorelines. It's as if an entire ocean once covered its northern hemisphere, then suddenly vanished. We've seen frozen ice caps at the poles. We've even found water locked beneath the surface. But these were only hints, traces, fragments of a story we couldn't quite read. And for years, scientists were split in two. Was Mars once a blue planet like Earth with lakes, rivers, and waves? Or are we just seeing the scars of something that looked like water, but wasn't? Every rover we've sent to Mars tried to answer that question. And yet, none of them found the final piece of proof until now. Because when China's Zhourong rover touched down on the Martian plains, it didn't just find rocks and dust. It found clues buried deep beneath the surface, clues that told a very different story. In 2020, while the world's attention was fixed on NASA's Perseverance rover, another spacecraft was quietly making its way toward Mars. Its name was Tianwen-1, meaning questions to heaven. And for the first time in history, China wasn't just observing the red planet, it was going there. Tianwen-1 was more than just a probe. Carried an orbiter, a lander, and a rover, all in a single mission. No nation had ever attempted that before. And when it arrived in February 2021, it did something even more remarkable. The lander touched down on a vast plain called Utopia Planitia, the largest known impact basin in the entire solar system. A place where, billions of years ago, some scientists believe an ocean may have once existed. From that moment, the rover Zhourong, named after the Chinese god of fire, began to explore the Martian surface. It was small, about the size of a coffee table, but packed with powerful instruments. Ground-penetrating radar, spectrometers, cameras, and a magnetometer. Its mission? To search for traces of water, minerals, and signs that Mars might once have supported life. For the first few weeks, Zhourong rolled over dunes of red dust, analyzing rocks and soil. At first, it looked like any other rover mission, slow, methodical, patient. But then, its radar started returning data that no one expected. Beneath the surface, the signals didn't bounce randomly. They formed smooth, sloping patterns, layers stacked one above another, like the buried edge of something vast and ancient. And that was when scientists realized Zhourong might have found something more than just dirt. It may have uncovered a shoreline, Because when the data came back and researchers analyzed those layers, they realized they weren't just looking at rocks. They were looking at the ghost of an ocean. When the first radar images came back from Zhourong, the data looked ordinary at first, layers of Martian soil, dust, and rock. But the deeper the signals went, the clearer the picture became. About 35 meters beneath the surface, scientists noticed a strange pattern, alternating bands of coarse and fine material, smooth, wave-like layers that didn't form naturally from wind or volcanoes. These layers looked sedimentary, meaning they were shaped by liquid movement, by water. Even more intriguing, some of the minerals Zhourong detected, sulfates and chlorides, only form when salty water evaporates. That meant whatever once covered Utopia Planitia wasn't just a small pool or temporary flood. It could have been part of a massive body of water, an ancient ocean that slowly dried up over millions of years. For decades, NASA had focused on areas like Jezero Crater, river deltas that hinted at small lakes. But Zhourong's discovery suggested something much bigger. If these patterns truly were remnants of an ocean floor, then Mars' history wasn't just wet, it was Earth-like. Imagine it. Billions of years ago, waves crashing along a Martian coast, icy rain falling from thin clouds, the sound of wind rushing over an alien sea. It wasn't science fiction anymore, it was evidence. The team behind Zhourong released their findings in 2023, and the scientific world lit up. For the first time, it seemed we had real proof that Mars once held long-term, standing water, the kind that could sustain microbial life. But as exciting as the discovery was, it also raised a new question. If Mars once had oceans, where did all that water go? Because the answer to that question doesn't just explain Mars' past. It might also reveal Earth's future. Billions of years ago, Mars might have looked like a cousin of Earth. Blue skies, flowing rivers, and a northern ocean that stretched for thousands of kilometers. But then, something went wrong. The magnetic field that once protected the planet began to collapse. Without that shield, solar winds from the sun tore into Mars' atmosphere, stripping it away bit by bit. Oceans evaporated, rivers vanished, and the blue world turned to red. What's left now is a planet frozen in time, a place where every grain of dust tells the story of what happens when a world loses its protection. NASA's MAVEN spacecraft confirmed that Mars still loses particles of its atmosphere even today, tiny whispers of gas escaping into space like fading breaths. It's not just history, it's an ongoing death. But what's truly haunting is how familiar that story sounds. Because when scientists study Mars' past, they're not just learning about another planet. They're seeing a possible reflection of our own. Earth's magnetic field, our atmosphere, our oceans, they're the same fragile systems that once existed on Mars. And if they could disappear there, who's to say it couldn't happen here? Zhourong's discovery didn't just reveal the ocean that Mars lost. It reminded us of how easily even a living world can fall silent. For all the evidence we've uncovered, the minerals, the layers, the frozen traces of ancient seas, one question remains. Is Mars truly dead? Deep beneath its surface, hundreds of meters below the dust and rock, scientists believe there may still be pockets of liquid water. Not oceans like before, but salty underground reservoirs, warmed by the planet's core. If those reservoirs exist, they could be the last refuge for microbial life. Life that never vanished, only retreated. And here's where things get even more fascinating. Because some researchers believe that the same chemical processes that once made Mars habitable might still be happening today. Tiny interactions between rock and water, powered by faint geothermal heat, could be quietly sustaining an invisible ecosystem beneath the red crust. If that's true, then Mars isn't just a fossil of a world that was alive. It's a world that's still alive, just in ways we can't yet see. Future missions, like NASA's ExoMars, China's Tianwen-3, and even private expeditions, aim to dig deeper than ever before. Their goal isn't just to explore the planet's surface, but to touch what lies below, the hidden layers where life might still flicker in the darkness. And if we ever find it, even a single microbe, then Mars will no longer be a story about loss, but about survival. Because in the vast silence of space, that single drop of life would mean everything. Proof that even when a planet dies, life finds a way to endure. When we look at Mars, we're not just staring at another planet. We're staring at a memory, a frozen photograph of what happens when a world runs out of time. Its oceans are gone. Its atmosphere is thin. The skies are silent. And yet, it still calls to us. Every rover, every orbiter, every experiment is more than science. Is humanity reaching across space, trying to understand where we came from and where we're going? The story of Mars isn't just about the death of a planet. It's about our need to explore, to ask questions, to find meaning in the silence. And maybe that's why we can't stop looking, because somewhere in that red dust, there's a part of us. A reminder that even when worlds fall apart, curiosity survives. And as long as we keep searching the stars, Mars will never truly be alone. So the next time you look up at the night sky and see that faint red light shining back, remember, it's not just a planet, it's a story, one that's still being written.